I always hear stories started off like, it wasn't always this bad, or things weren't always like this. Even worse are the stories that start out with, once upon a time. Ugh, I seriously hate that. What you see here all around me has always been here. Darkness, loneliness, sadness. There was no once upon a time for me. I will start off my story like this. Forever, as long as I can remember, I had hope. That's me. I think I'm about 13 years old. I'm basing that guess on Mom's boyfriend that's screaming at her right now. You know, I can't even remember half of Mom's boyfriend's names, there were so many. By this time, I learned that I shouldn't even try because they could move in on a Tuesday and be completely moved out by Saturday. They didn't last long. Mom was never happy or satisfied. For some reason, when I shut my door and sang to myself, I could see a different life for me. I would write down everything I could see. "17-year-old me was a little wiser to the world now. Don't get me wrong, my story starts out with hope, remember? By the time I was a senior in high school, I was pretty much on my own. I guess like a regular, almost adult, I didn't spend that much time at home. Mom was drunk anyway and always told me to leave because she didn't want to see my face. Whatever. I didn't want to be there anyways. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I would just wander until the time Mom would usually pass out. I must have looked at that list a million times a day. At first, it was a comfort, something I could look at when I felt sad, or lonely, or exceptionally hopeless. This list was what set me apart from my mother. My mom never had a plan, and I did. 1, move out. 2, fall in love. 3, be happy. When I was 13, this list seemed so achievable, so imminent. I heard in school, when I would go, that I could do anything I set my mind to. I could be anything I wanted. Most of the other kids would say, I want to be a policeman, or I want to be a teacher, or I want to be rich. I always kept my to be secret. I knew it was silly to say out loud. Of course one would want to be happy. Who didn't? That was just kind of implied in everyone else's lives. Not mine. It had to be something to aspire to. I started stealing my mom's liquor a while ago, as soon as I realized she had no idea how much she actually had left the next day. I always thought by now I would have figured out a way to escape and leave my mom and this life behind me. But now I was the only one here to take care of her. Retreating to somewhere else for a little while seemed like a great idea. For a while there, I thought my list was actually coming true. I met a guy when I was a senior in high school. I showed him my list. He wanted the same things. He grew up like me. Never really had a parent telling him what to do. We did anything we wanted. We partied pretty hard. It was nice to forget with somebody, you know? Sometime, in all the forgetting, I got pregnant. Me and the dad stopped forgetting for a little while. I had the baby, and I was in love. For a few months, we moved out on our own. It turns out the baby's father was just like all of my mom's boyfriends. We got into this vicious cycle of getting drunk or popping pills, fighting, and him getting physical with us. Me and the baby moved back in with Mom, who was, of course, no help at all. A few weeks ago, someone called Child Protective Services on me. The The lady said I was obviously under the influence, that I could barely keep my eyes open or form a sentence, and couldn't take care of my baby. The lady told me that my baby couldn't stay with me right now, and asked if I had any family to take him. The sad truth is that there was no one he could rely on, just like I never could. I didn't put up much of a fight when she took him. She was right. I couldn't take care of him. I had become just like Mom. How did I not see this happening? I was different. I had hope. Hope of a better life for me. And when my son came along, I had hope for him. I like that I had hope. That hope probably got me a little further than anyone expected me to go. I had absolutely no one guiding me. I fell through the cracks. I went unnoticed most of the time. I probably worked hard to get it that way. But I wish I would have had someone to teach me what the world could really be like. It's hard to navigate this world when you're all alone. I think with my son gone, I can finally cross off number 3. Don't get me wrong, I'm sick over his absence. But now he's getting a chance I never had. Right now, someone who is able is showing him a life I never could. A life I wanted so badly. But now my hopes for him can become his reality. I never want to be a burden on my son like the way my mom was for me. I hate to say it, she was a burden. I had to take care of her every time there was a new guy who beat her up. I had to be a bartender for her when she was too drunk to get off the couch. I had to cover for her when she owed people money. I grew up before I even knew what being a grown-up really meant. Now I can be happy because I know my son will get to be a kid. He won't slip through the cracks because his life will be smooth. His new parents, his teachers, and his friends will know when he's having a bad day or just needs a hug. He'll get to have normal kid to be things. He won't have to have a list that says be happy because it's not even a thought he could be anything else.